The Rittenhouse trial goes into day 4 of its deliberation, so we will talk a bit about that, plus the fact that MSNBC is banned from the courtroom, which I find absolutely hilarious, and I hope that you will too. In other news, we now have to wait 55 years to get FOIA for anything that comes out of the Pfizer vaccine, but that just means it's the best, right? We don't have to worry about it for almost a half a century, right? Right? The CBO has scored the budget bill and the Build Back Better plan at costing the U.S. taxpayers $384 billion added to the deficit, which is funny because I was told that it wasn't going to cost us anything. And the UN has given its proposal to Elon Musk. I've looked it over briefly, and it doesn't look like it's going to end world hunger, but maybe for a year. It is going to be all this and more. Let's go, Brandon. I'm Jay Edgar, and this is Contemporary. Good morning, Ed Heads. Welcome to Contemporary. My name is Jay Edgar, and we have got, as usual, coming in on a Friday, a ton of stuff to get to today, and we are going to have to cut it early because I made a promise. And my promise is that I make a special thank you to everybody who chats in the live chat, and go over some of your live chat on Friday as well. So, I made a promise, I'm going to keep it. We're going to get through as much as we can. But as usual, there's a lot. We might have to push some of this out for Monday. Which is fine because, hey, there's no jury duty coming up on Monday. That'll be fun. I know that's coming into Thanksgiving week too, so, well, I guess we'll talk about that and what's going on there, and we'll make some decisions as we come on through next week as well. But we have got a ton of stuff to get to today here, including the Rittenhouse trial. That's going on at day 4. I haven't touched the Arbery trial yet because I thought for sure this was pretty well open and shut, and from what I understand from the stand, the one guy just admitted the fact he never felt threatened, so yeah. We're going to talk about the Rittenhouse trial, though, because that really does have a special place in my heart, because that is going on in what I consider to be my hometown, the place I lived for almost my entire adult life. Plus, everything else that we talked about on the top and more over on Contemporary. But before we get started, make sure you guys go check out the website. We're coming up on 60 days here, trying to get the rest of the money back in for this year, but we're still stalled out at 600. So if you guys want to share out the link for that, do guys make sure you go check out turnsofpagesproductions.com. Something cool is coming soon, and it will be a great hub where you can go back and check out great shows such as the Daily Ignoramus, the Breakdown with Breckenhoff, the R-Rated Conservative, the Freckles and Brit Show, and the Porch Boys. Go check out the channel. It's going to be a great time. There's going to be some great writing coming in, and I'm really looking forward to getting this up and getting this launched, so definitely go and check that out. And if you do want to help out in a more direct fashion, we do have the GoFundMe link out there available. Still at $600, but share it far and wide. I understand we're coming into holiday season right now. I absolutely understand that. I get where we're coming from with that, but if you guys can help out, even $1 helps out with us, so let's get this up into here. Let's get this marked. And if you do want to throw a couple bucks in, I thank you very kindly in advance for that. All right, let's get into the news for the morning, starting with the Dow. The Dow, well, it's not doing so well. Now, see, I was promised as soon as this infrastructure bill passed that we were going to see 40,000 Dow Jones and everything else is going to hit record after record after record. And yet, as this goes along and we see more and more inflation, people are starting to look in and realize what's coming on with this, what's going on with this. And I think the Bitcoin market is driving some of the sell-off here too. It did rebound throughout the day. It didn't quite get back to its previous close. We ended yesterday at 35,870.95 on a previous close of 35,931.05. So, I mean, it was only 60 points down. I mean, that's not end of the world kind of numbers for the Dow Jones. But it's still down, where I was promised that it was just going to be record after record. So, and the futures are not looking much better right now either. Looking at your Bitcoin, refreshing from overnight last night. It came back up overnight last night, but it is still down to $57,340 and 20 US cents. On a steady downswing since the passage of the infrastructure bill, which is going to have crypto guards in it as well. So that's what we see coming back up out of that. Looking at your industrials, your copper is still down, your steel is up, and your aluminum on the average has come back up. Looking at your individual plays, copper on the whole appears to be down, including brass and brass shells. Steel, BX steel is down, but your light iron, number one steel, cast iron, no, I don't want to sign up for current prices. Rotors, complete car, shreddable steel are all up. Stainless steel is going down once again from 60 cents to 58. On aluminum is more mixed. Siding is down. Aluminum copper fin is down. Regular radiators are up. Cans are down. Sheet aluminum is down. Rims are down. On your other plays, copper electric motors are down. Ballast are up. Lead is up. Batteries are up. Catalytic converters are up. Compressors are up. Alternators are down. Carbide is down, and all of your computer supplies are on the upswing. So that's what we see. If you need to take some scrap in, it will depend on what it is that you need to take in. Let's see what IBD has to say. From Investors Business Daily, Dow Jones Futures, crude oil yields fall. Beware the mega cap rally. AMAT stock leads 5 key earnings. From Ed Carson. Dow Jones Futures and S&P 500 Futures turned lower Friday morning, while NASDAQ Futures rose with crude oil prices, Bitcoin and Treasury yields declining. Applied Materials and Palo Alto Networks earnings were in focus. The stock market rally was mixed Thursday, but was a strong day for tech giants. Nvidia surged on earnings, also lifting up rival Advanced Micro Devices and providing a tailwind for chip names Amazon and Google parent Alphabet flashed buy signals, joining Apple stock, which extended Wednesday's breakout amid fresh Apple car buzz. Aren't you excited? You could get an Apple car! With Apple, Amazon, and moving back up to the top. Let's try this again. With Apple, Amazon, Nvidia, and other megacaps leading the charge, the NASDAQ 100 hit a record high. It's looking extended from the 50-day line once again, raising the risk of another pullback. These tech titans are also making some weaknesses beneath the surface. Meanwhile, several retailers boomed on earnings. Macy's shot up 21% to a 3-year high. Kohl's jumped nearly 11%, breaking out of a double bottom base handle entry. Bath & Body Works popped 5%, perhaps offering an add-on entry. Former sister company Victoria's Secret leapt 14%, breaking a trend line and gapping above its 50-day line. Rivian and Lucid sold off for a second straight session, down 15.5% and 10.5% respectively. At $123.38, Rivian stock is still up 58% from its $78 IPO price, but it's 31% off Tuesday's intraday high. Lucid stock is 18% off Wednesday's intraday high. Interestingly enough with that, I think that a part of what's driving this is it's the holiday season. Now, yes, we're going to see a massive introductory IPO for Rivian because Amazon is buying their vans left and right. But who buys cars at this part of the season right now? Not a lot of people. I mean, that's part of the reason I got such a good price on both trucks that I bought from a dealership. That's a big part of the reason I got such a good price on both of those trucks. Because I bought them in the holiday season. Because, we're at this point. The heating bills are starting to pile up. You're starting to see holiday spending. People don't have money after the holidays. People have been gathering, people have been traveling, they're just getting back home. And unless they found out that the car broke down rather, on their big trip that they made to go see family, they're not really in the market to go buy another car. They're in the market to sit back and squirrel a bunch of money away and not have to worry about it. But that's what we see coming off of that. And I think that's going to be a drive for it. I do think that Rivian and Lucid are probably going to pop, probably about the spring. Those would be ones to watch. That's not official financial advice, but I'm going to grab a little bit into them. Tesla edged up about 0.7% to 1096.38. A report that Apple is accelerating car efforts aimed for a 2025 launch of a fully autonomous electric car helped push Tesla into the red briefly intraday. Tesla stock is up 6.1% for the week. Other EV stocks, from startups such as Fisker to China plays like XPeng, retreated significantly. Overnight, XPeng unveiled the G9 SUV with a fast-charging battery system. Applied Materials, Palo Alto Networks, Workday, Williams-Sonoma, and Intuit were key earnings late Thursday. Applied Materials fell 6.5% in pre-market trade, back towards its buy point after Applied Materials missed on EPS and sales. The chip equipment giant blamed supply chain issues. Workday and Williams-Sonoma fell about 7% overnight, despite beating views, signaling moves back towards or below recent buy points. PANW stock initially down slightly, rose 4% early Friday following positive earnings and guidance. Shares are near a new high after finding support near their 50-day line. Intuit stock jumped more than 10% on strong Intuit earnings. On your watch list, Tesla, Google, Nvidia, and AMD are on the IBD leaderboard. Apple is on Swing Trader. Google is on the IBD long-term leaders. Tesla, AMD, Nvidia, and Williams-Sonoma are on the IBD 50. On your futures, Dow futures fell 0.7% versus fair value after being slightly higher overnight. S&P 500 futures retreated 0.3%. NASDAQ 100 futures climbed 0.4%. And we're going to talk about that in just a second. I have a third finance article that I want to touch on. So I'm going to go briefly into the CNBC one, and then we're going to touch on the supply chain. Just a moment. The 10-year Treasury yield declined 7 basis points to 1.52. Crude oil futures sank 3% to 6-week lows. Copper futures climbed 1%. Which tells me that I was correct. Gas is probably going to go down a little bit coming into the holiday season, which they need hard. The price of Bitcoin was above 57,000, down 4% versus 24 hours earlier, but off overnight lows. Bitcoin has fallen sharply in the past few days after hitting a record of 68,990 earlier this month. Yeah, blame it on the infrastructure bill, because they're going to start getting hammered for all their purchases and trades. Shibu dropped too, but that's what we see coming off of that. Let's grab one briefly from CNBC, and let's talk about the supply chain issue after that. Dow futures slide as European COVID woes dent global sentiment, tech shares higher from Yoon Lee. Stock futures were mixed early Friday as concerns over a resurgence of COVID-19 weighed on global markets, though tech shares pushed higher. Futures on the Dow fell 202 points, or 0.5%, reversing course, having earlier been in positive territory. S&P 500 futures fell 0.2%, and NASDAQ 100 futures gained 0.4%. Markets were roiled after Austria announced Friday morning that it would re-enter full national lockdown due to a resurgence. Germany on Thursday announced more restrictions for unvaccinated people as a fourth wave sent deadly cases to a record high. Pay attention, folks, it's coming here. The market rally appeared to have slowed a bit near record levels, even amid strong corporate earnings. Macy's and Kohl's both blew past analyst estimates and their quarterly earnings reports on Thursday. Intuit shares roared nearly 10% higher pre-market after the tech platform's earnings blew past estimates and the company raised full-year revenue guidance. Nvidia continued its strong run, with shares rising 1.8% on continued momentum from its earnings beat earlier this week. On the downside, big energy companies were mostly lower as oil prices continued their recent slump, with West Texas Intermediate falling about 2.5%. Occidental Petroleum led the declines, falling 3% in pre-market trading on Friday. So, a little bit of move, a little bit of shake that goes along with this, and that's one thing. I was on Discord with Seawall last night after the call-in show that I did. And he pointed out the fact that, yes, a lot of these European countries, despite the fact that they're much higher in vaccine rates than the U.S., Sometimes 80, 90, 95% in some of these European countries are going back into full lockdown. What's going on with this? What's happening with this? I thought this vaccine was supposed to be the be-all, end-all for this, but it is perfectly fine with this, and absolutely everybody should run out and get it. Hong Kong, hurry up. Nothing bad could ever happen from this, and myocarditis is just a right-wing conspiracy theory. Hong Kong, always make sure you go and get the vaccine. Don't ban me, Susan. Let's look at supply chains. From The Verge, Ford and GM are getting into the chip development to help deal with the shortage. From Jasmine Hicks. And this is another, American ingenuity kind of thing, which I kind of like. Remember, way back at the beginning of the Pinko fucking Pox, back when we didn't know what this thing was, back when we thought that maybe there was a chance that this could be the next plague that wiped out the world. Before we had 2 years of data that suggested that this is a 99.99999999999999999% survival rate. When they jumped in, and when we had a ventilator shortage, they retooled their facilities to make ventilators, to make masks, to make hand sanitizer, to make all these things that we thought that we were going to be in massive shortage for, except for toilet paper for whatever reason. But they retooled everything. They've got the manufacturing, and if there's going to be a chip shortage, good on them for coming in, jumping in, and trying to retool to make the chips. And then also being able to do it in-house. Cutting some of the cost back up out of it. This is from Jasmine Hicks. A year into the computer chip shortage that's heavily affecting vehicle production, Ford announced a collaboration with chipmaker Global Foundries, Incorporated, as the Wall Street Journal first reported. Ford's press release about the non-binding agreement is light on specifics but mentions plans to advance semiconductor manufacturing and technology development within the United States without committing to building any plants. The two companies say they will explore expanded semiconductor manufacturing opportunities to support the automotive industry. Speaking during an event later in the day, GM CEO Mark Royce said his company is working to co-develop new chips with many semiconductor partners like Qualcomm, TSMC, and others. Ford's VP of Vehicle, Embedded Software and Controls, Chuck Gray, told the Wall Street Journal that we feel like we can really boost our product performance and our tech independence at the same time. Global Foundries spun off from AMD in 2009, eventually becoming the world's fourth largest semiconductor manufacturer behind TSMC, Samsung, and UMC. According to TrendForce, it manufactures chips for other companies like AMD, Qualcomm, and even Samsung. The company went public last month, and its CEO said at the time that its chip supply is sold out through 2023. The car industry is Demand for chips has risen in recent years to accommodate new technology in vehicles. However, many rely on older, cheaper technology and make smaller orders than a company like Apple or Nvidia. Throw in pandemic-related supply chain issues and a fire at a key plant, and you have a situation that could last you for years. After announcing the all-electric F-150 in May, Ford CEO Jim Farley told The Verge, "When did Bill Ford stop being the CEO?" Told The Verge that its plan to address the chip shortage involved going direct, and now we're seeing what that looks like. So, fantastic. If you can do something in-house, and you don't have to pay the shipping costs, you don't have to pay the third-party cost because you're in a partnership, if not outrightly own the chip company, depending on whether you're GM or Ford, because it looks like Ford is going to keep a non-binding partnership, but GM is just going to go and mine. Government Motors, they'll do that for you. But still, you're still going to be able to take some of the costs back up out of these vehicles. At a time where there's a shortage and we're going to see the cost of these vehicles rise tremendously. So, innovative, of course. You love to see it. And we will see where it goes and what happens with it and how this ends. Let's get into the big news of the day, starting with the Daily Wire. We are going into fourth day of deliberations today because they got through yesterday without finishing out their deliberations. Judge allows juror to take home full jury instructions, dismisses defense's objection. This is from Amanda Prestigiacomo. Judge Bruce Schrader, who's overseeing the trial of teenager Kyle Rittenhouse, granted a female juror's request to take home a set of full jury instructions on Thursday night. "Can you take the jury instructions home?" Yes, Judge Schrader responded after thinking over the questions to himself. As the judge was weighing his decision, the defense team was seen slightly shaking their heads no. After the jury was dismissed home, the judge noted the defense team's apparent disapproval. Defense attorney Mark Richards told Judge Schrader that he was worried allowing instructions to be taken home would lead to some sort of internet research. The judge quickly dismissed the concern, claiming jurors could look things up with or without the 36 pages of instructions in front of them at home. That's a fair point. After the back and forth, the judge dismissed the course for the day. The third full day of deliberation, the 12 jurors and 6 alternates will go home for the night and return back to the courthouse Friday morning to continue deliberation. As usual, Schrader told jurors not to look at any media about the case and resist talking about the case with anyone while they are away from the court. Earlier in the day, Schrader banned MSDNC from the courthouse for the remainder of the trial, after someone from MSDNC was pulled over after allegedly following the jury's sealed bus, the Daily Wire reported, which we will talk about that in just a little bit. Looking in at the fact that the instructions were allowed to be taken home. Now, I've heard mulling and rumors from people adjacent to the court that there are just 2 people in the court who they're just worried about getting doxxed, so they want to throw a guilty. Otherwise, their houses will get burned down and everything else. For somebody whose name I will not mention on this program because, well, I think he's just doing a little bit of thrill-seeking with that one. But we've also heard on other news, on the other side of this, we've heard about the people out there who they say that it's about 6-6, and there are other people out there that say that this is 11 in favor of acquittal, and they're just waiting on this one person here. Now, I do have a note. Let me get this pulled up here. Thank you, Grant, from the off-hours server, for getting this out here. But I do have the note for the juror here. Let me get this pulled up over into our screen. Of course, I can't pull it out of the Discord because I can't break my own rules. But I can't bring the Discord over here to show you guys because I can't break my own rules. But I can bring this over here and we can talk about this here because it does look like this is the jury note. The phrase is very telling. Mr. Rittenhouse put down the fire extinguisher. This was the phrasing of the persecution. I think it's a good indication of the thought process of whoever wrote the note. So we see case number 20-CF983, question number 5. Please prepare Mr. Rosenbaum shooting, event 1, FBI aerial with all person of interest marked, drone video zoomed in large, still after. Mr. Rittenhouse put down fire extinguisher. Full event, 1 video in regular and slow motion. We will request when ready. This is from Juror 54, 11/17/2021 at 11:40. So that's an interesting note that we put in because if this was a person who was looking to acquit, you would think that they would have taken. I mean, it's the little subtle details about this kind of stuff. But a person would think that if this was a person who was seeking to acquit, that it would be a situation where they would say, well, where he dropped the fire extinguisher rather than where he put it down. But that's just speculation on my end. I can't really come out and say for sure that this is what happened, but I can speculate and say that, you know, we've got this sitting out here. Thank you, Grant, for that. So, I don't know. There's a lot of speculation as well out there on the internet sphere that if we don't get something by today, then the judge is going to declare a hung jury because next week is Thanksgiving, which to me, I believe is a big part of the reason that my jury duty got pushed off as well because, well, the judges don't want the courts in session during Thanksgiving. But we'll see where it goes and what happens with that. I'm still going to work my way to get out of that as we go, but that's what we're going to see. Reading from The Hill. Judge bans MSDNC from Rittenhouse trial. from Dominic Mastrangelo. I don't know what this video is, but I want to do this clip, because this is the full clip of what happened there. And then we'll go review and see what the other one looks like. Drop the music.
Interest in the case, and so it's I'm going to call it a sealed bus, and that's been done every day, and then they're brought here to this building. And last evening, a person who identified himself as James G. Morrison and who claimed that he was a producer with NBC News, employed for MSNBC, and under the supervision of a person, what's going on? Oh, okay. Under the supervision of someone named Irene Bayan in New York for MSNBC. The police, when they stopped him because he was following at a distance of about a block and went through a red light, pulled him over and inquired of him what was going on, and he gave that information and stated that he had been instructed by Ms. Bayan in New York to follow the jury bus. The matter is under further investigation at this point, and the media has asked questions about it. That's the latest I have. And he was ticketed for violating a traffic control signal. He's not here today from what I'm told, and I have instructed that no one from MSNBC News will be permitted in this building for the duration of this trial. This is a very serious matter, and I don't know what the ultimate truth of it is, but absolutely it would go without much thinking that someone who is following the jury bus, that is a it's extremely serious matter, and will be referred to the proper authorities for further action. Thank you.
So yes, at this point, MSNBC is banned from the courtroom. I missed when I was organizing things today. Let's check what this clip is, just quickly. I think it's the same one.
The matter is under further investigation at this point, and the media has asked questions about it. That's the latest I have. And he was ticketed for...
Yeah, it's the same clip, just without the stereo. So... the judge presiding over the Kyle Rittenhouse murder trial in Kenosha has barred journalists working for MSDNC. Journalists, that's a generous word for them, but from the courthouse after an incident during which a freelance producer, was not a freelance producer, by the way. He said that he was working for MSNBC. He told that to the police. They can scramble and try to cover up all that they want. From the courthouse after an incident during which a freelance producer for the network allegedly followed the jury bus on Wednesday evening in an attempt to take pictures of the jurors. I have instructed that nobody from MSNBC News be permitted in the building for the duration of this trial, Judge Bruce Schrader said in the courtroom on Thursday afternoon. This is a very serious matter, and I don't know what the ultimate truth of it is, but it would go without making much thinking that someone who is following a jury bus that is an extremely serious matter will be referred to the proper authorities for further action. Good. Nazis! Out! Get out! Get out of here! The Kenosha News reported on Wednesday night that a producer for MSNBC, whom the network has identified as a freelancer, was arrested after he allegedly tried to take photos of the jurors. He might be a freelancer now. Hey, dude. You got caught, so you're fired. And we're going to call you a freelancer from here on out. Enjoy doing your taxes next year. Police said no photos of any jurors were actually taken, the newspaper reported, but the individual was taken in for violating a traffic control signal. The producer reportedly told officers he was following the jury bus at the direction of his boss in New York City, where NBC Universal's headquarters are located. Last night, a freelancer received a traffic citation. While the traffic violation took place near the jury van, the freelancer never contacted or intended to contact the jurors during deliberations and never photographed or intended to photograph them. NBC said in a statement, CYA. Dude, the dude got into the police room and spilled the fucking beans. You're caught. Said in a statement issued to several media outlets on Thursday afternoon, we regret the incident and will fully cooperate with the authorities on any investigation.
Be your friend, no more than the table you built it on will be.
The jury in the Rittenhouse case has been deliberating the verdict for the last several days. Rittenhouse has been charged with felony intentional murder, among other things, after shooting and killing 2 people in the Kenosha during the civil unrest following the police shooting of Jacob Blake, a black man. Another person was injured in the incident. Nazis! Jury tempers! Get out! Get out! No, you are not welcome here! This is coming from Brian Stelter over at CNN. NBC News statement. Last night, a freelancer received a traffic citation. While the traffic violation took place near the jury van, the freelancer never contacted or intended to contact the jurors during deliberations and never photographed or intended to photograph them. Which Summer Schrag actually points this out almost perfectly. During deliberations, does that mean NBC intended to contact the jurors after deliberations were done for the day? So yeah, I mean full CYA mode off of this one. But reading the tweet from Antifa Watch, MSNBC producer Irene Minjubayan, who is the producer that the freelancer cited as giving the orders, also has nuked her Twitter account. MSNBC producer Irene Minjubayan just nuked her Twitter account following allegations of jury indication. So this is interesting. Now, of course, I mean, the leftoids over on Twitter and the people who are saying, Kyle must be put away in a prison and given the death sentence, even though we don't believe in the death sentence. Those people are looking at it as, no, he just ran a red light and it just happened to be near the bus. Well, here are the facts in front of you. He ran a red light, he was near the bus, and he got into the police station and spilled the beans about the fact that he was working for MSNBC. I present to you the facts. You draw your own conclusions. I can't tell you what to think about this. From WISN, Jacob Blake speaks to TMZ as jury deliberates Kyle Rittenhouse trial. I have no author given on this. Shut up, you. As the jury deliberates the verdict in the Kyle Rittenhouse trial, Jacob Blake is providing an update on his health. He was shot 7 times in August 2020 by Kenosha police officer Rustin Chesky. The shooting left him paralyzed from the waist down. His shooting sparked protests in Kenosha that turned deadly when Rittenhouse shot 3 men, killing 2 of them. Rittenhouse remains he acted in self-defense. Blake spoke about his recovery to TMZ. I'm always in pain, he said, in part. I've been hanging in there. Chesky was never charged in the shooting. Blake said he has forgiven Chesky and harbors no ill will towards him and his family. Blake also said Rittenhouse's case would be different if Rittenhouse wasn't white. Because of course he was. I do feel very strongly
Jacob Blake, the man whose police...
Shut up. I do feel very strongly if he was a different ethnicity or people group, he'd be gone. It wouldn't be, no, he's a hero. They would have said that he was underage. He traveled to a different state with a firearm that didn't belong to him. Blake said, I'm not happy about that. Well, underage, you could technically argue, but he never traveled to a different state with a firearm that didn't belong to him. Blake said he hopes no matter what the outcome of the trial is, things remain peaceful in Kenosha.
These shootings, jury deliberates.
Jeez. They really want me to listen to her, don't they? Look, Jacob Blake is going to come out, and of course the media is going to come out and they're going to parade Jacob Blake out in the onset of this, because this is falling apart in front of them, especially given the fact that they just had one of their journalists over on the mainstream media get caught tailing the bus. Now they've got to appeal to the emotions here. And as I've said before, I mean, debt ceiling comes up on December 3rd. The debt ceiling is up on December 3rd. They need these emotionally charged riots coming out here. And you think, by any chance, that it's a coincidence that the Rittenhouse case and the Arbery case are going on at the same time? Because they can't stretch the Arbery case back out. Because this is probably going to go in the state's favor on the Arbery case. Most likely. So you'll get a couple of celebratory riots down in Atlanta, but for the most part, that's going to be dead off the water. But these people want the riots. They want the emotionally charged argument. All right. I got this one here. I was debating whether to bring this one in because it's Tim Pool and it's from Twitchy, so it's not green check verified. But I did want to share this after all. Tim Pool shares why he believes ADA Krause cropped and even edited evidence in Rittenhouse trial in damning thread. I don't have an author given on this one. I think I know whose it is though. Could the prosecutors in the Rittenhouse trial be any worse? Yikes. What an absolute train wreck they've been, and it seems like it's only getting worse. Tim Pool's thread on why he believes ADA Krause cropped and even edited evidence is pretty damning. Take a look. Tim Pool. I believe ADA Krause cropped and edited the evidence in the Rittenhouse trial, then provided a further cropped and compressed version to the defense that he needs to be questioned under oath. It's not definitive, but here's my reasoning. Not definitive, fair, his reasoning. Drone footage resolution from the state is a weird format. 1920 by 844. This appears to be because the full video was manipulated to remove either the graphic or something the state didn't want included. How did the footage get cropped? Krause on his laptop has Format Factory. Format Factory is not just transcoding as per their website, but also crops video. This explains why Krause had Handbrake and Format Factory. Now we all know that it's a fact that the defense was given a lower res video. This is not disputed, but it seems ADA Krause got caught as per the transcript from court. Ours is much clearer, it's just playing weird. That's when he realized he was caught. If you use Handbrake, oh, that's not Tim Pool anymore. If you use Handbrake, then you know about video editing. You are a power user. They skewed evidence. Interesting. Interesting indeed. How would Tim put it? These people are evil! Evil! Goldman! From the Blaze, Thug and Fuck Kyle t-shirt arrested after body slamming a reporter attacking female counter-protester, slapping cameras outside a Kenosha courthouse. Well, this one seems like a charming fellow, doesn't he? From Dave Urbanski. Video cameras captured the moment when a violent male protester wearing a Fuck Kyle t-shirt and black and red wool cap body slammed a reporter, attacked a female counter-protester, and slapped cameras in front of the courthouse in Kenosha, Wisconsin, where a jury was deliberating the Rittenhouse trial. The protester in question was caught on video instigating numerous violent encounters with Rittenhouse supporters as well as journalists who were simply documenting the tense scene on the courthouse steps Wednesday as both sides continued to wait for a verdict. Look at this cum dumpster right here, the protester said to a female counter-protester at the start of the video. Did you give me this video? I see a lot of pictures. Content warning profanity.
Yeah.
Look at this cum dumpster right here.
You cum dumpster? Your mom was. She
Hey, I can't be a cum dumpster.
You are. How?
How? I don't have a vagina, you dumb cunt.
You can swallow it, you dumb bitch.
Fuck out.
What you gonna do?
Rob, don't do it.
Okay, before we go back and watch the rest of this shit show, that was a good burn. That was a good burn. I like that.
Hey, what's up?
Stop!
Get off.
Stop! Back up!
I didn't do nothing. She's the one that's doing it.
Back up!
Oh shit!
Anthony! Anthony, you're gonna get arrested.
Why are you trying to get up on me like that?
Hey, you okay, man?
I do not want Charlie in my car seat. Get this shit away before I freak the fuck out.
No.
Go, man! Stop that! You ain't.
Stay back! Stay back!
You hit me!
Someone grab her! Hey!
do nothing.
Don't get arrested!
I didn't do
Back!
nothing.
Back up!
You hit me!
Stay back! Don't get
No,
arrested!
you hit
Get the
me.
line here!
Now y'all fucking hit me!
Back up!
Come on, girl! Come on!
Back up! Stay back!
Go forward.
Stay back now! Go to the bank!
Why are y'all throwing that shit?
They just blessed my head.
Stand up.
Oh, gee, y'all just blessed my head. Yeah, get all this.
That's why we trying to get you.
Back up.
Stay back!
Whoa.
Put your hands on that
back.
shit. Y'all ain't shit. Y'all are sorry as hell. Fuck you.
Is that what I think it is? Is he one of the knights from Knee? Or, I'm sorry, not from Knee, the knights who say Knee? Holy shit. What the fuck? That's amazing. I don't give a fuck what side that dude is on. That's amazing. I would go down there. I would take the day off work, go down there, and give that guy a $20 bill to pull his arm inside of his sleeve and say, "'Tis a flesh wound."
But I promise you, it quiets down a little.
Justice for all. Anthony and JoJo.
Lives matter. The left, Nancy Pelosi, and the left. They're the ones that create.
It just creates further division. We don't have to separate ourselves
It
like
just
that.
creates more division.
You think
Donald
that
Trump,
Wait,
Donald Trump was trying to be a good president.
You think
and
Nancy
the left
Pelosi
made him
is
to be a bad person.
You think Nancy Pelosi is a founder?
Until Anthony over get it. Shut it down. If we don't get it.
Found the Fed.
If we don't get it.
Found the Fed. He's got a cue. Found the Fed. All right. That's enough of that video. That was hilarious. This cum dumpster over here. Your mom is a cum dumpster. I can't be a cum dumpster. Well, you could have swallowed. And now he's in jail. I should go down there, by the way. Let's see. The protesters in question, oh, we read that part already. The woman shot back, "You cum dumpster, your mom was." The protester, yeah, we saw that video. That apparently got under the skin of our hero, who took a big swipe at the woman who appeared to graze her sign. A number of folks reacted. The physical response was disapproval. You know, "Stop it, man, you're going to get arrested." And the Fuck Kyle protester joined the fray and appeared to manhandle the woman he had just argued with. "Yes, you sound very charming, protester dude." Then the Fuck Kyle protester began attacking a reporter, pushing him up the courthouse steps before body slamming him to the ground as a number of onlookers converged on them. One woman was heard yelling, "Anthony, you're going to get arrested." It turned out to be a prophetic cry. Officers soon took the protester in the Fuck Kyle t-shirt into custody, Fox News reported, adding that the 20-year-old, name not read out on the air even though it's on the screen, was charged with battery, resisting arrest, and disorderly conduct, according to Sergeant David Wright, a spokesperson for the Kenosha Sheriff's Department. Fox News also said one of its digital reporters witnessed the suspect carrying out the aforementioned violence, as well as slapping multiple cameras. And here's the protester finally in cuffs. What's more, the protester was also charged with felony bail jumping and misdemeanor bail jumping, Wright told Fox News. Ah, charming fellow. His jail record, which indicates he's 5'6", weighs an imposing 145, shows there's no bail amount for Wednesday's charges, but there is a $1,950 bond for them. Since September of 2020, he's been charged with substantial battery or intent to do bodily harm, battery, and disorderly conduct in 2 other instances. Charming. Very charming fellow. Fox News, citing Wright, reported that other unnamed protester was also arrested Wednesday, facing charges for resisting arrest, disorderly conduct, and possession. Throw that shit out. Throw that last one out. The Sheriff's Department inmate lookup indicated Thursday that she posted bond in the amount of $0. So, that's what we see coming off of that. Plus, the night that says knee. Alright. And the last one, this was brought to me last night during the call-in show that I did. Man retrieves dildo from rifle case outside Rittenhouse trial courtroom, yells, "Fuck Black Lives Matter." This is entertaining enough to watch. A story in 2 parts.
Piece of shit away.
Street. No, you're fucking not doing this. Oh, let me tell you something. I'm gonna fry the fuck out of you. I'm gonna gun your ass. That's the last sweater you got on. What the fuck, dude? You weird as fuck. You fucking weird. You fucking weird. You wanna know a fucked up joke? I'm not trying to be funny with you. Do you know why black people like soup? Because we can legally burn you fucking crackers. Oh my fucking goodness. Laugh at that shit, you dumb fuck.
Okay, that's the protests outside the front.
I'll pull it out. I'll pull it out. Watch. Yeah! 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 Fuck you guys! Fuck Black Lives Matter!
Turns out he didn't have a gun in the rifle case. Wait for it. So, that's what we have there. He's back with a rifle case with a dildo inside. Fuck Black Lives Matter. Tariq Nasheed had to weigh in on this one. The fact that Kyle Rittenhouse said on video he wished he could shoot protesters, never proven, illegally obtained a gun that proceeded to shoot and kill protesters, charges thrown out, correctly assumed a white judge and law enforcement would be on code with him, proof positive please, Mr. Nasheed, proves white supremacy. Thank you, Tariq Nasheed. And the other one that was weighing on people's minds yesterday, not the Arbery case, but another one, because, you know, all the progressives had to come out and say, it's so symbolic that the jury is going to deliver a verdict on the same day that the state is going to execute an innocent man. From Reuters, governor's last-minute reprieve spares Oklahoma death row inmate. From Peter Zakelli. Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt on Thursday halted a high-profile execution of a death row inmate, Julius Jones, hours before he was scheduled to die for a 22-year-old murder in which doubts about his guilt have been raised. The governor's 11th hour reprieve followed the clemency recommendations from the Oklahoma Pardon and Parole Board, which voted 3-1 on November 1st that Jones' sentence should be commuted to life in prison. After prayerful consideration and reviewing materials presented by all sides of the case, I've determined to commute Julius Jones' sentence to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, Stitt said in a statement. The commutation was filed just over 4 hours before Jones was to die by lethal injection of a 3-drug cocktail that his lawyers had challenged as inhumane in a separate last-minute appeal. Jones, 41, was convicted of fatally shooting insurance executive Paul Howard during a 1999 carjacking in his driveway. But his lawyers have cited evidence that he was home with his family when the murder occurred, which they said the jury never learned because his lawyers at the time failed to fully investigate it. The case, which has drawn widespread interest from celebrities including Kim West and anti-death penalty activists, sparked several protests and vigils across the state in the past 2 days. So, I've got a couple questions about this. Now, first and foremost, he has been convicted by a jury of his peers, but he does have mistrial and appeal options available. And that's part of the reason I don't like the death penalty. I do like the death penalty, especially if there is no question about what you've done. But the other side, and you know, the Lowellbirds out there who say that, I don't want the state to have the power of the death penalty, but if anybody so much as comes across my fence line, uninvited, I will execute the death penalty on that person. I don't like the death penalty in the fact that if something does come up years later, there's no appeal. You can't bring back the dead and say, oops, sorry, we found more evidence that proved you were innocent. But on the other side of it, in cases where there is no doubt whatsoever that the person isn't trespass and did the crime, I think that it should be an available option. But, you know, there again, somewhere down the road. I mean, it goes like the way that Texas, the death penalty goes, where Ron White used to say, hey, your state's trying to abolish the death penalty, my state's trying to put in an express lane. Whereas if you're on death row, and 3 credible people saw you do the crime, you get moved to the front of the line on death row. You don't wait around for 3, 4, 5 decades to do so. But I'm completely undecided on the death penalty. I see arguments on both sides of it. And I can't really decide where I want to land on that. But regardless, they still believe that he did the crime because he's still remaining with life in prison. But at least now he can come back out and make an appeal, at least. So, I guess we'll see what happens off that. Alright, the title card of this episode. Starting with a tweet from Stephanie XAGS, who you guys should tweet at and tell her to come on my show at some point. I think she's interested. And thank you, Chilaga, by the way, for coming into the replies on that one tweet and saying, yes, the show is awesome. Come on there. Thank you for that. But definitely not advice. At Steph XAGS says, the FDA is starting an initiative to reimburse those injured by vaccines given for emergency authorization. For more details, Google FDA 2076, which I did. And I found several non-Green Check verified articles, but then I found one from Reuters, which is an op-ed commentary, but still. Wait, what? FDA wants 55 years to process FOIA request over vaccine data. From Jenna Green. Freedom of Information Act requests are rarely speedy, but when a group of scientists asked the federal government to share the data it relied on in licensing Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine, the response went beyond the typical bureaucratic foot dragging, as in 55 years beyond. That's how long the FDA, in court papers this week, proposes it should be given to review and release the trove of vaccine-related documents responsive to the request. If a federal judge in Texas agrees, plaintiffs, public health, and medical professionals for transparency can expect to see the full record in 2076. The 1967 Freedom of Information Act law requires federal agencies to respond to information requests within 20 business days. However, the time it takes to actually get the documents will vary depending on the complexity of the request and any backlog of requests already pending at the agency, according to the government's central FOIA website. Justice Department lawyers representing the FDA note in court papers that the plaintiffs are seeking a huge amount of vaccine-related materials, about 329,000 pages. The plaintiffs, a group of more than 30 professors and scientists from universities including Yale, Harvard, UCLA, Brown, filed the suit in September in U.S. District Court for Northern District of Texas, seeking expedited access to the records. They say that releasing the information could help reassure vaccine skeptics that the shot is indeed safe and effective, and thus increase confidence in the Pfizer vaccine. But the FDA can't simply turn the documents over wholesale. The records must be reviewed to redact confidential business and trade secret information of Pfizer or BioNTech and personal privacy information of patients who participated in clinical trials, wrote DOJ lawyers in a joint status report filed on Monday. Let's see, 55 years from now means that I would be, when this happened, when this was finally allowed to come out, 82? 92. 84 to 76. $92, yeah. Why am I blanking on that? That should have been an easy math problem. Must be early. So I would be 96 when this finally got released. But I'll get to see the results, right? Right? The FDA proposes releasing 500 pages per month on a rolling basis, noting that the branch would handle the review, that would handle the review has only 10 employees and is currently processing about 400 other FOIA requests. 55 years to get vaccine information on the clinical trials. 55 years. That means it's the best, right? More vaccine stuff. Biden admin buys 10 million courses of Pfizer COVID treatment pill in a $5 billion deal. That's $500 a pill, by the way. From Spencer Kimball. President Biden on Thursday said the U.S. has bought 10 million courses of Pfizer's COVID treatment pill, an oral antiviral medication that was highly effective in preventing hospitalization among high-risk adults in clinical trial. The pill Paxlovid would fundamentally change the fight against the virus, providing physicians with a drug that patients can take at home after infections. A highly effective at-home treatment. Oh my god, this reads like a fucking commercial. Like, I'm reading this right now, and I'm waiting to see. Side effects include nausea, diarrhea, vomiting, anal seepage, hair falling out, weight gain, weight loss, chills, fever, the inability to process information, psychosis, murderous rampage. A highly effective at-home treatment could help reduce the stress that hospitals have faced throughout the pandemic, particularly during the recent wave of Delta infections. My administration is making the necessary preparations now to ensure these treatments will be easily accessible and free. Biden said in a statement. This is positive news. What's my line? This treatment could prove to be another critical tool in our arsenal that will accelerate our path out of the pandemic. Biden said the delivery of the pills will start at the end of this year and continue through 2022. Still not taking it. Pfizer said Thursday it would receive $5.29 billion from the U.S. government, contingent on authorization of the pill by the FDA. Pfizer on Tuesday submitted its application to the FDA to grant emergency authorization for the pill. Paxlovid is taken in combination with the widely used HIV drug ritonavir. In a clinical trial of adults ages 18 and over who are most susceptible to contracting severe COVID, Paxlovid demonstrated 89% efficacy in preventing hospitalization and death when taken within 3 days of symptom onset, according to Pfizer. Side effects may vary. Contact your doctor. $5 billion for 10 million doses. $500 a pill to have the little Pfizer name on it. And if it does contain what I believe it contains, you know, that word that you can't say on YouTube, then that's even more incredible, because you can get that word that you can't say on YouTube on a prescription for like 10 cents a pill. I think it's some ridiculously low amount, because this drug that you can't say on YouTube has been around since the 80s. I'm gonna make it free for people here. Have you noticed that with this stupid pinko fucking pox bullshit, we are marching harder and harder towards single payer healthcare too? But that's what we see off of that. And of course, you notice as well that this is something that's right out, and it's coming from the government. It's coming from Big Pharma, and there's no generics available either, oddly enough. Oops. From local10.com. DeSantis signs vaccine mandate ban into law and takes jab at Biden. No, Biden already got the jab and the booster. And second booster. And third booster. And 25th booster. From Anthony Izaguirre and Amanda Batchelor. Ron DeSantis signed a series of bills on Thursday to hobble coronavirus vaccine mandates in business and ban vaccine mandates in school. I told Floridians that we would protect their jobs, and today we made that law, DeSantis said during an appearance in Brandon. Nobody should lose their job due to the heavy-handed COVID mandates, that we had a responsibility to protect the livelihoods of the people of Florida. I'm thankful to the Florida legislature for joining me in standing up for freedom. The Republican governor's campaign said they picked the small Tampa suburb of Brandon, yeah, we know why, as the place for signing the bill, opposing the White House vaccine mandates Thursday, trolling President Biden by referring to what has become a popular stand-in for swearing at the president. The Let's Go Brandon line has grown in popularity among Republicans who want to boost their credentials among the party's hardcore base. Yo, that's hardcore, man. Florida Republicans approved the bill Wednesday after hours of debate in which Republicans maintained that they were protecting workers from onerous mandates by the federal government. If you want to get the vaccine, you can get a vaccine. If you don't want to get a vaccine, you can choose not to get a vaccine, said Senator Danny Burgess, a Republican. That's the entire purpose of this bill, trusting Floridians and allowing us to make that choice for ourselves. DeSantis called a special legislative session on vaccine mandates as he waged a legal and media campaign against the vaccine mandate pushed by Democrat President Joe Biden. The governor has become a star in the GOP through his opposition to lockdowns and other virus rules, boosting his profile as he runs for re-election and eyes a possible 2024 presidential run. Once again, coming out here and doing the legislative thing. Not doing this by pen and a phone. Ron, I'm becoming more impressed with you. You are still a leaning towards no vote from me if you run for president or primary, but you've moved up out of the absolutely not category into a no, but I'll think about it. So good on DeSantis for that. From USA Today. Disney Cruise Line to require children to show vaccination proof to board starting in January. Once again, if this is such a crisis, why not do it now? Is Disney Cruise Line even running right now? From Morgan Hines. Disney Cruise Line will require children ages 5 and up to be fully vaccinated against COVID for sailing starting next year. The requirement is a continuation of the company's policy that all vaccine-eligible passengers be vaccinated. This will be a requirement for all guests, U.S. and international, ages 5 and up, for sailings beginning on or after January 13th, 2022. Disney Cruise Line said on its website Wednesday, guests who are not vaccine eligible because of age must provide proof of negative COVID-19 test result. Disney Cruise Line says it will accept vaccines approved by the CDC and World Health Organization, including Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, AstraZeneca, Covishield, Novavax, Sinopharm, and Sinovac. The test, which must be NAAT test, lab-based PCR test, or rapid PCR test, must be taken between 3 days and 24 hours before the passenger's sail date and would be paid for by the passenger. Well, I'm not going on your shitty cruise. Fuck off. Alright. Something you should absolutely never, ever, ever do. Antonio Brown obtained fake COVID-19 vaccination card, former chef alleges. No author given. Tampa Bay Buccaneers wide receiver Antonio Brown has been accused of obtaining a fake COVID-19 vaccination card, according to the Tampa Bay Times. The Times reported Thursday that according to Steven Ruiz, a former personal chef for the wide receiver, Brown had his girlfriend, model Sydney Moreau, reach out to Ruiz over the summer to obtain a fake vaccination card that said that Brown had received the Johnson & Johnson shot. According to the text messages provided by Ruiz, Moreau offered $500 for the fake card. Ruiz was unable to acquire a fake card for Brown, according to the report, but he added that the wide receiver a few weeks later showed him once he had had for himself and Moreau that he said he'd purchased. Brown reportedly was unwilling to get the vaccine because of possible side effects. Ruiz said that he went public with the accusation after Brown failed to pay $10,000 owed to him, according to the Times. Responding to the Times story, the Buccaneers released a statement saying they had received completed vaccination cards from all Tampa Bay Buccaneers players. All vaccination cards were reviewed by Buccaneers personnel and no irregularities were observed, the team said. Brown's attorney, Sean Burston, told ESPN's Jen Elaine on Thursday that Brown is vaccinated, and he said, if Antonio's doctors and guidelines require a booster shot, then at that time he'll be happy to do it live on TV and everyone can come watch. Look, I don't know if Antonio Brown got a fake card. I have no idea. But if you are going to do something that the federal government considers to be illegal or socially unacceptable, make sure you pay your chef. From the Blaze. Army Secretary says National Guard members who reject the vaccination will be flagged and not permitted continued service. From Alex Nitzberg. Army Secretary Christine Wormuth has issued a memo stating that National Guard troops who fail to comply with the mandatory pinko-fucking-pox jab may not get renewed on the Guard, according to the New York Times, a former newspaper. I have determined that all soldiers who refuse the mandatory vaccination order will be flagged, she wrote, according to the outlet, which reported such a move would block soldiers from securing promotions, awards, and bonuses. In the event that soldiers keep on eschewing the shots, they will not be permitted continued service, except if they obtained an approved vaccination exemption, Wormuth noted, according to the other outlet. Excuse me. Public and private sector vaccine mandates have become topics of intense debate around the U.S. U.S. service members face a COVID-19 vaccination mandate. Mandatory vaccinations are familiar to all our service members, and mission-critical inoculation is almost as old as the U.S. military itself. Our administration of safe, effective COVID-19 vaccines has produced admirable results to date, and I know the Department of Defense will come together to finish the job with urgency, professionalism, and compassion, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said in a memo earlier this year. And, well, that's the thing. That's when I look at this and I remember. Like, I didn't serve myself. But I know, Ron has said this even in the chat here, but a number of other people that I know have. I mean, they get lined up in the hall, told to drop their pants and get a series of 5 to 7 needles shoved in their asses. One at a time. They don't get a say in this. They don't get to know what it is. They don't know if they're getting experimented on. They don't know if anything else. This is commonplace for the Army, your government property. So I'm not entirely surprised this is happening. Once again, I don't agree with it, and I don't agree with mandatory vaccination for service members in any count whatsoever. But I mean, this is not completely new either. So look for a drop and a reduction in enlistment. Okay, we gotta shift gears now. We gotta go talk about something else here. From Caitlin Emma, blue checked because she covers the federal budget and spending bills for Politico, co-author of Politico Pro's Budget and Appropriations Brief. Tips to see Emma at Politico.com. Tweets out, CBO estimates that Biden's bill will add $367 billion to the deficit over a decade. Quote tweeting from CBO cost estimates. Summary of cost estimate for H.R. 5376, the Build Back Better Act. So, and there is the summary of this from the CBO. It's a spreadsheet, which I don't have Excel to run, so I can't watch that, or I can't look at it. So, I will get this opened up somewhere and have a look into it. But our friend Ballerfort, friend of the show, says, Biden said it was free. Yeah, there's no additional cost here. It doesn't cost anything. Just pass the damn bill. It doesn't cost anything. Come on, man. All right, so that's what we have off of that. Oh, we don't want to do that. All right, from CBS, House pushes vote on Build Back Better to Friday due to record-breaking McCarthy speech. From Sarah Ewald Weiss, Carol Linton, and Melissa Quinn. Apparently there's a new update down on the bottom here. But let's read the article. The House delayed the vote on President's signature Build Back Better social spending plan until Friday as Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy spoke at extraordinary length. He wound up setting a record for the longest speech on the House floor. McCarthy wrapped up his remarks at 5:10 a.m. Friday, 8 hours and 32 minutes, after he began eclipsing the 8-hour and 7-minute mark set by Nancy Pelosi in a 2018 speech about the DACA program for immigrants. Some people listen to Nancy Pelosi speak for 8 hours and 7 minutes. Wow. I can think of better things to do than that. Only a handful of representatives were still in the chamber. The House adjourned a minute later and was to reconvene at 8 a.m. on Friday. Shortly after midnight, House Democratic leaders told the members to go home and return Friday morning for a vote on the bill. McCarthy's high-energy speech, featuring a wide variety of attacks on Democrats and Pelosi, the House Speaker capped off a busy evening on Capitol Hill. The nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office released the cost estimate for the bill. Several moderate Democrats said they wanted to wait for that score before they voted. At least two of the moderates were holding out for CBO scores, said Thursday night that they would vote for the bill, and another moderate, Henry Queller of Texas, also indicated that he would. But Democrats' handle on the measure remained razor thin. Jared Golden of Maine was still expressing reservations, and Democrats with a slim majority, they can only afford to lose 3 votes. No Republicans are likely to support the legislation. The CBO said it would increase the deficit by more than $367 billion over 10 years, but the estimate does not include revenue that would be generated from increasing IRS enforcement, which the CBS suggested would be $207 billion. I thought this was all free. And by the way, increasing IRS enforcement, that means it's coming from you. Secretary Yellen welcomed the CBO's analysis, noting that the Treasury Department estimates the crackdown on tax evaders would raise $400 billion. And then she went back into the back and rubbed herself out. She said in a statement that the combined CBO score, Joint Committee on Taxation Estimates, and her own department analysis made it clear that Build Back Better is fully paid for, and in fact will reduce the nation's debt over time by generating more than $2 trillion through reforms that ask the wealthiest Americans and large corporations to pay their fair share. But yet, it's still coming back from you. The CBO has been releasing estimates on individual components of the Build Back Better Act over the past few weeks, but did not address how much money the legislation would raise or the cost until Thursday. Overall, the CBO estimates the legislation would result in spending $1.63 trillion, the office said. Changing the tax code and other provisions would generate more than $1.26 trillion in revenue, and suggested the IRS enforcement would add another $207 billion in revenue. So, well, they're going to go vote on this monstrosity yet tomorrow, and for the most part, the nation has been paying attention to the Rittenhouse case and the Arbery case. From Be in Crypto, Senator Cruz repeals bipartisan tax bill's effect on crypto industry. But it probably got shot down. From David Thomas, and updated by Ryan James. Senator Ted Cruz is looking to repeal the effect of legislation passed in the new tax infrastructure bill that defines crypto brokers very broadly. Following President Biden's signing of a $1.2 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill, Senator Cruz introduced legislation to appeal the bill's effect on the crypto industry, which has found a friendly operating environment in Texas. Cruz is of the opinion that the new bill is too broad and poorly crafted, and it will stifle innovation and endanger the privacy of Americans. Cruz believes that the Senate should have held hearings to understand the consequences of the new bill before signing. Senator Cruz wishes to change the language in the bill that defines who or what a broker is. The new bill requires crypto exchanges to issue a 1099-B by defining them as brokers. The 1099-B is used for brokerages to keep track of customers' gains and losses during the tax year. The taxpayer will receive the 1099-B form from the brokerage, copy the information to Form 8949 to determine the gains and losses, which is then entered into Schedule D of their tax return. Under the new bill, many crypto entities would be considered as financial institutions, which means that certain types of information about customers would need to be collected. Cruz believes that crypto is a new and exciting industry in the United States, which is creating jobs and new inflation hedges. According to a statement made by Cruz in August of 2021, he believes that due to the average income of $136,000 for blockchain developers, the industry helps people to own a home and raise a family. During the Texas Blockchain Summit in October of 2021, Senator Cruz supported the idea using flared natural gas for generators that miners could use. So they're going to try. And I mean, we see the Bitcoin go down every single day because now that the infrastructure bill is out and the crackdown is on crypto providers, then they don't want to keep going with crypto, which is understandable entirely. I wouldn't. If this was another way for the government to get into my fucking wallet, that was the point of getting into crypto, was to keep the government out of my wallet. But if they're going to be in there anyway, what's the point? I'll just use the worthless fucking US currency like everybody else. All right, Lauren Boebert, back on the show once again. Rep. Lauren Boebert on Build Back Better. There's $550 billion for Green New Deal policies and tax breaks so congressional members from the Bronx can afford a new Tesla. I urge my colleagues to vote no on this monstrosity. Let's listen.
There's $550 billion for Green New Deal policies and tax breaks so congressional members from the Bronx can afford a new Tesla. Biden's broke back budget has another $330 billion to incentivize workers to stay home. Newsflash to the party of wealthy cities and wealthy elites. We have a worker shortage right now in America. We have an inflation crisis. This will only make things worse, much worse, not better. But let me guess, when things do get worse, as they inevitably will, we'll need to re-elect y'all's sorry selves so you can fix it, right? No thanks, I'll pass, and I urge my colleagues to vote no on this monstrosity of a spending bill. And I yield back. There's $550 billion for Green New Deal policy.
I yield back my time. Yeah, that's a big part of this too, and you know, she'll come out here and she'll be the firebrand, and you know, it was pointed out, I think last night or yesterday, that she really is the AOC of the other side. But one thing that she did miss off of this, that I think was just standing there waiting for her to touch on, was the fact of, well, when all this blows up in y'all's faces, then all you're going to do is blame Republicans for it, and you're going to say that it was all their fault. Another classic Obama/Biden line. Oh, Biden. Oh, I knew you guys were going to enjoy this one here. You know, I'm not even going to read the caption. I'm just going to let you listen to it.
Hi. What's your name? Nice to meet you. How old are you? 7 years old. Weird. You are. What grade are you in? First grade. Oh, that's great, man. Thank you for being here. You okay? Maybe after this I can show you what I see. What I see. Thank you for being here. You okay? Maybe after this I can show you what I see. Thank you for being here. You okay? Maybe after this I can show you what I see.
Maybe after this I can show you around the White House, okay? Stranger danger! Stranger danger! Chris Hansen, get in here. Sniffing, imminent.
First grade. Oh, that's great, man. Thank you for being here.
That's great, man. It sounds like, oh, what the fuck was his name? Snowball in Clerks. What the fuck was his name? Scott Mosier was his real name. Yeah, that's him. No, he's a producer. What the fuck was the character name? No, I don't want his producer credits. I want his actor credits. I don't know. I don't know what his name was. They called him Snowball. But that's what it sounded like in here. That's great, man. You know, like when Dante and Veronica were talking and saying that they were getting together, that she was coming home to visit him and bring him food. That's beautiful, man. That's what that sounded like.
You okay? Maybe after this I can show you what I see.
Stranger danger! Stranger danger! Holy shit! Alert! Alert! All right. What else do we have? From KRDO TV, AMFM.com, UN to Elon Musk. Here's that $6 billion plan to end world hunger. And this comes to KRDO via CNN. From Jackie Waddles. And by the way, if you're lurking today, make sure that you're getting a message in here because live chat day is coming up here fairly soon. I can't read your spiciness if you don't put it in the chat. The director of UN World Food Program laid out the plan to spend $6.6 billion to combat world hunger. No, that's not what you said. You said end world hunger. See, now you're moving the goalposts again. A direct response to a back and forth with Tesla CEO Elon Musk, who claimed he would sell Tesla stock to fund a plan if the WFP could describe exactly how it would work. David Beasley, the UN Food Program Director and former Republican governor of South Carolina, tweeted a link on Monday to a 1,000-word executive summary. It maps out how the UN would deploy $6.6 billion worth of meals, vouchers to feed more than 40 million people across 43 countries that are on the brink of famine, thereby averting what the WFP is calling a looming catastrophe. No, that wasn't what you said. You said to end world hunger. You could end world hunger completely with $6 billion from Elon Musk. Not combat it, end it. In the document Beasley posted, the WFP proposes dedicating $3.5 billion to buy and deliver food directly, $2 billion for cash and food vouchers, including transaction fees, in places where markets can function, and spending another $700 million to manage new food programs that are adapted to the in-country conditions and ensure the assistance reaches the most vulnerable. Another $400 million will be used for operations management, administration and accountability, and supply chain coordination. The world is on fire, Beasley wrote. I've been warning about the perfect storm brewing due to COVID, conflict, and climate shocks, and now rising supply chain costs. It is here. This hunger crisis is urgent, unprecedented, and unavoidable, Beasley wrote in a separate tweet, tagging Musk, who is the world's wealthiest person with a net worth of approximately $288 billion. You asked for a clear plan in open books. Here it is. We're ready to talk with you and anyone else who is serious about saving lives. As of Wednesday, Musk had not responded. The back and forth between Musk and Beasley kicked off with CNN interview last month, in which Beasley asked billionaires to step up now on a one-time basis to help combat world hunger, specifically citing the world's two richest men, Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. Beasley said, giving $6 billion, or 2% of Musk's net worth, could help solve world hunger. No, you didn't say help solve it, you said you could solve it. Beasley said, Musk responded on Twitter, writing, if WFP can describe on this Twitter thread exactly how $6 billion will solve world hunger, I will sell Tesla stock right now and do it. Yeah, you said to solve it, not help solve it. You said it would be done. Not combated. You said that with the $6 billion, it would be done. It would be over. So you move the goalposts, and now you want to get these $6 billion, which I don't know how in God's name Elon Musk giving $6 billion to the WFP is going to help anything. I mean, it's not even going to go through the U.S. government. What the hell? It's got to go through the U.S. government in order to help anybody. All right, from the Washington Post. Proud Boys leaders seek release from D.C. jail alleging inhumane conditions. From Paul Duggan. A national leader of the Proud Boys, a far-right group with a history of violence. Okay. Asked a judge on Monday to release him from a D.C. jail and place him on home confinement, citing what he described as inhumane conditions in the facility. Enrique Tarrio, who served 70 days of a 5-month jail term, pleaded guilty in August to 2 crimes, including setting fire to a stolen Black Lives Matter banner during a tumultuous demonstration in Washington after the election defeat of Hong Kong former President Donald Trump. Appearing in D.C. Superior Court via video, Tarrio, 37, and his attorneys said Tarrio has endured abuse from staff, unsanitary conditions, poor food, and lack of medical care. The complaints echoed findings of a surprise inspection of the facility last month by U.S. Marshal Service, which listed numerous systemic failures at the 45-year-old jail in Southeast Washington. I've been in jail before, but what I've seen here, I've never seen before, Tarrio told Judge Jonathan H. Pittman. It's insane. It's a gulag. At Monday's hearing, a lawyer for the D.C. Department of Corrections disputed many of Tarrio's assertions, and Assistant Attorney Paul Courtney argued that Tarrio's emergency motion for release filed November 9th was legally improper. Courtney said the correct course would be for Tarrio to file a lawsuit, which is a more protracted process. Pittman said that he would issue a ruling later this week, but on the bench Monday he seemed to side with the government. Shocker. Dude, you're only getting 5 months. Many of your other people are going to be in there for the rest of their lives in this. And I still think that the Proud Boys glow, especially given the fact that Tarrio is only getting 5 months. I mean, burning a BLM banner, that's a mandatory life sentence, isn't it? For anybody else? It's obviously distressing to hear these conditions, he said of the Marshal Service findings and Tarrio's complaints, but the poor conditions were not unique to Tarrio, the judge noted. What makes Mr. Tarrio different from all the other prisoners? I don't know, you should be treating prisoners with some sort of humanity, and not letting them wallow in their own fucking shit. Why isn't everybody else? In the November 9th motion, Tarrio's lawyer, Lucas I. Dauncey, said his client's cell was flooded with foul toilet water that overflowed from an adjacent cell, while the water in Tarrio's cell remained shut off as retribution for some unknown act that Tarrio never committed. That could never happen, not in this country. Speaking of justice news, Q Shaman sentenced to more than 3 years in prison for his role in the January 6th attack. From Laura Romero and Lucien Bruggeman. Jacob Chansley, the self-described Q Shaman, who infamously marched through the U.S. Capitol with a spear and a horned helmet during the January 6th Selfie Fest, was sentenced Wednesday to 41 months in prison for his role in the attack. It matches with the longest sentence handed down to any Selfie Fest participant following the 41-month sentence handed down last week to Scott Fairlamb, a former MMA fighter who pleaded guilty to assaulting a police officer during the riot. What you did here was horrific, Judge Royce Lamberth said during the sentencing hearing. It is the type of conduct that is so serious I cannot justify downward departure from sentencing recommendations. Chansley, who wasn't accused of assaulting law enforcement or destroying property, pleaded guilty on September 3rd to one felony count of unlawfully obstructing an official proceeding. On Wednesday, prior to sentencing, Assistant U.S. Attorney Kimberly Paschal played social media recordings of Chansley in the Senate chamber, chanting what sounded like a bizarre prayer and blowing a bullhorn. That is not peaceful, Paschal said. That is chilling. There you go, government. Go and fucking stroke yourself a little bit more. Fuck off. Like, dead serious. Fuck off. Chansley, who was almost unrecognizable as he addressed the court in a plain, jail-issued dark green jumpsuit, said that he was a good man who broke the law and implored Judge Lamberth to judge a tree by its roots in considering his sentence. I am in no way, shape, or form a violent criminal. I am not an insurrectionist. I am certainly not a domestic terrorist, he said. I hope you see my heart. I was wrong for entering the Capitol. I have no excuse whatsoever, Chansley said. In retrospect, I'd do everything differently on January 6th. I would try with all my heart and soul to stop people. But he's done this in buffalo horns. And he is a symbol. That's the reason he got 41 months. He is a symbol. This is a symbol. They're pointing to you and saying, don't you dare oppose the government. Don't you fucking dare. Otherwise, you'll get 5 years too. Alright, I think we will get down to this one here from WTRF, and we'll call it a day, and we'll do live chat. I think. Mayor of Maryland City charged with 50 counts of distributing revenge porn. From K. Jones. The mayor of Cambridge, Maryland was arrested and charged with 50 counts of distributing revenge porn, according to a news release from the Maryland's Office of State Prosecutor. Court records state that Andrew Bradshaw, who took office this past January, was arrested on Monday and had his first court appearance on the charges. See, this is why when I am seeing a girl and she tries to show me her boobs, I tell her that she can't do that. Because it would be like nothing for her to turn around and save that picture and then send it back out and said, "He shared out my picture, what do I do?" That would be like nothing. Court records state that Andrew Bradshaw, who took office this past January, was arrested on Monday and has his first court appearance on the charges. The complaint, provided by the state's prosecutor's office, alleges the victim contacted law enforcement in May, and she said she saw nude photographs of herself on Reddit, which she said were posted there without her consent. University of Central Florida fraternity members accused of posting revenge porn on Facebook. She said, according to a complaint, that she sent photos to Bradshaw when they were in an intimate relationship and they were no longer in the relationship. Using someone's private images without their consent is a serious breach of trust and invasion of privacy, and the power and breadth of the internet makes such a violation even more egregious. State Prosecutor Charlton T. Howard III said in a news release announcing the charges. Our office is committed to protecting victims from those who abuse their positions of power and trust. Bradshaw's attorney has not responded to CNN's request for comment. If convicted, Bradshaw faces up to 2 years in jail and up to $5,000 in fines for each charge. Don't send your boobs. Exactly. If I'm going to see your boobs, if you're a chick and I'm going to see your boobs, I'm going to see them right up in front of me. Take some of the paper trail out of it. This jarring video came out, tweeted out by Black Adam Schefter, former NFL running back Zach Stacy beating on his ex-girlfriend in front of their 5-month-old child.
Hey, listen, things are way different now.
That's a fucking haymaker, holy shit.
You think that was okay? Now I do not. Please, please, please.
You thought that was okay? And then you're gonna ruin relationships and talking about I'm destructive?
Listen.
Fucking bitch.
God, please.
I love you, Coops.
Oh my God. Oh. Hey, listen.
Well, that guy's a piece of shit. From WESH2, Oakland Police Department hunts for former NFL player Zach Stacy accused of attacking ex-girlfriend. From Annika Hope. A search is underway for a former NFL player who is suspected of abusing his ex-girlfriend in front of their child. Oakland police confirm a video has gone viral after being posted on social media by the alleged victim. Appears to show the attack, which happened on Saturday. Police say the video shows Stacy striking the victim twice in the head, then you hear her plead with him to stop. The arrest affidavit says the video then shows Stacy pick the victim up and throw her into a 65-inch television. While the victim was still on the floor, Stacy stands over her. He eventually picks her up and body slams her into a baby bouncer. The infant seated in the couch is heard crying as Stacy walks out. The victim reported the incident to police. According to investigators, they soon learned that Stacy had left the state. Stacy remains on the run. They're encouraging him to turn himself in. As for the victim, the arrest affidavit says she was treated at the hospital for cuts and bruises.
The National
Are you going to autoplay again? Yeah. But keep in mind that no matter how bad this was, what Aaron Rodgers did was worse. Yep, I'm going to do this one and the New York Post one, then we'll do live chat for the day. Ohio passes 2 gun rights bills in the House. From Adrian Robbins and Daniel Griffin. 2 controversial firearms bills were up for a vote on Wednesday at the Ohio House of Representatives. Both bills have opponents questioning what these bills will do to the state's gun violence problem, while supporters of House Bill 99 and House Bill 227 saw law-abiding gun owners are not the problem. House Bill 227 allows anyone over the age of 21 who is legally able to own a gun to carry a concealed weapon. House Bill 99 sets a minimum of 20 hours of training for teachers and school personnel who want to carry a weapon, down from the hundreds of hours the Supreme Court decided. We feel that there are way too many hours, and in our bill we set a minimum, not a maximum. And again, it's a permissive bill. It's not a mandate or anything like that, said Representative Thomas Hall of Madison Township. First and foremost, as a mom, right, with 3 school-age children, it's terrifying to me to absolutely imagine that there's going to be a teacher with inadequate training with a gun in their classroom, said Rep. Jessica Miranda, D of Forest Park. Both bills were approved by the House and will now move to the state Senate. The thing with schools too, and I mean, I do wish that there was more armament in school and that teachers were able to do and to get their hands on stuff, but my biggest fear with that, of course, would always be not necessarily the teacher going nuts. I know that's one of the things that that makes a lot of people go crazy is, oh, well, teacher's going to have a bad day and they're going to turn the gun on the students and shoot. That's not what I'm worried about. I am worried about some disgruntled kid getting a gun that's inadequately locked or put away and then going on the fucking rampage that he was going to go onto, no matter what. That's what I worry about. But I also understand the idea that if you are in an active school shooter situation and you as the student, that was the thing too, and I mentioned this in a solo video all the way back when I started the channel as well, that it's possible that we should have the ability to let teachers be armed. Not a state armed teacher, but a teacher who, if that teacher already qualifies and has a concealed carry, should be able to utilize that concealed carry in schools. But it should be absolutely secret from everybody who is concealed carrying and who isn't. Nobody should know, because if that school shooter, if he's going to go into an active school shooter situation and walk up and down halls, and he doesn't know which hall is going to end his fucking life, because he doesn't know which teacher is armed and which one isn't, that's going to do a lot more deterrent than pretty much anything else you can do off of this. If you don't know which corner you're going to turn that's going to end your life as an active shooter, you're going to think twice about doing it. But I also am more afraid, like I said, of that psychotic student getting their hands on the teacher's gun. And the last one we'll do today, we'll do these last 3 on Monday, because I know that we need to talk about some other things and a lot of stuff we're concerned about here. Hold on, I need to cue up a sounder for this one. From the New York Post, professor placed on leave after saying sexual attraction to kids is not always immoral. From Steinbuch. A Virginia university has placed an assistant professor on administrative leave after the educator sparked heated backlash for saying it isn't necessarily immoral for adults to be sexually attracted to children. Alan Walker, who teaches sociology and criminal justice at Old Dominion University, made the controversial comment while discussing minor attracted persons and pedophiles during a November 8th interview with Prostatia Foundation, a San Francisco-based child protection organization. Walker, who uses the pronouns they, them, was discussing their book, A Long Dark Shadow, Minor Attracted People and Their Pursuit of Dignity, when they insisted it's important to use the terminology instead of pedophile because it's less stigmatizing. In a statement Tuesday, the school said it placed Walker on administrative leave. Reactions to Dr. Walker's research and book have led to concerns for the safety of the campus. Furthermore, the controversy over Dr. Walker's research has disrupted the campus and community environment and is interfering with the institution's mission of teaching and learning, it said. So he's fired. And yes, I will say he, him. Because this is my program, and you're not going to tell me how to speak. Alright, that's it. Let's do live chat. Got some juicy shit in here today. We can probably turn off the wood chipper. A lot of stuff in here today. You guys went nuts today. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Katie Z said, just watched the stream from last night. Good stuff. Thank you, Katie Z. Also, good morning, friends. Shilaga's here. Good morning. Ron Helton is here. Good morning. Here comes the smoke. Quest Fanning says, stuffed turkey and a side of hung jury in the Rittenhouse trial. We will see. Let's see what happened throughout the week. On Monday, we had Quest Fanning, Random Randy, Ron Helton, Katie Z, R. Volt, Shilaga 1984, Woofy Productions joined us on Monday as well, and Laboul. Tuesday gave us Quest Fanning, Ron Helton, Random Randy, Katie Z, R. Volt, Shilaga 1984, Nephilim Ninja of Nibiru, Sour Tangy Benangi was here briefly on Tuesday. Thank you for that, by the way. And Life to the Max. Wednesday, we had Quest Fanning, Ron Helton, Beam Me Up, Mr. Scott, Random Randy, Katie Z, Mad Cow Mark, R. Volt, Zazie, and Silent Caster. Yesterday was a really slow day, so we got to figure out what's happening on Thursdays and see if we can make the show more exciting and interesting on a Thursday. But on Thursday, we had Quest Fanning, Ron Helton, R. Volt, Random Randy, Chilaga 1984, and Man of War, the most dedicated group of people in live chat. Today, we came down to Quest Fanning stuffed turkey and a side of hung jury in the Rittenhouse trial. Ron Helton is here, the holiday season and mass unemployment season, if they continue to mandate these worthless jabs. Quest Fanning says, I'd rather my car be an apple than a lemon. It's hard to find a car right now. It is. A soccer friend has been looking for a BMW X3. Ooh, look at you and your bougie big money. And it's going to settle on in a Mazda CX-5 because that may become available shortly. Ooh, look at you and your fancy expensive BMW X3, your fancy $150,000 car. Katie Z says, I bought my new car in 2011 and I'm planning on keeping that bitch alive forever. I've got a 14, so I really don't want my big brother any more in my car than he already is. Ron Helton says, really? Allowed to go home on a murder trial? That's a little unusual. What about their security? Do we want to become famous by followers and viewers on bigfollows.com? Do we want to become famous in that way? Thank you, Aether M3RCZ. What are your own rules? My own rules on the Discord. The rules. Rules for Ed's World, which actually are the same rules for the live chat as well. This is a free speech server. I'm going to keep it very few. 2, we're going to be discussing a lot of controversial topics. Please be respectful and no name calling. 3. Any doxing is an instantaneous ban. No questions, no appeals. I want everyone to feel safe in their abilities to discuss controversial topics without fear that it will affect them in real life. 4. If a specific mod is the target of Rule Tool, he or she may not silence or ban due to conflict of interest. Please reach out to me or another mod to help you. Number 5. Rule 4 does not apply to Rule 3. If you dox, you're gone. 6. I can't enforce this except in the server, but please do not screenshot or record anything from the server and repost it anywhere else. If it gets back to me that you did this, you're gone. Mods, please abide by this as well. If there's a direct violation of the law on the federal or any statute applicable in the state of Wisconsin, please alert me and I will deal with it personally. No screenshots, that's the rule. No sharing out what happens in the Eddsworld server anywhere else out there. If you want people to see what's in the Eddsworld server, you have to bring it in for yourself. Now, if you grab a meme or something and reshare it out, that's cool, but no screenshots. Once again, that was my goal when I made the Discord, and when it started picking up and talking, is if we're going to talk about controversial topics, I want to make sure that it doesn't affect anybody in real life. 7. Violations of Rule Tool punishable as follows. First violation, warning in chat. Second violation, warning in DM. Third violation and beyond is a 24-hour mute. Excessive mutes may be subject to ban by server owner discretion only, which means mods, unless there's a doxing, cannot ban. Mods are not allowed to ban unless there is a doxing. And then yes, if you dox somebody, you are gone. That's the only reason that any of the mods have the kick function. Otherwise I would have set that to orange text only. Yeah, if anybody gets doxed in my server and you're a mod, get rid of them right away. And number 8, of course, because the government shall always be held in check, members who have a specific problem with a mod, or if a mod is excessively silencing, please alert me, and upon verification, that mod will be subject to review. Even though all my mods are my friends, I still want to make sure that they're doing what it is they're supposed to be doing. Not going on a power trip. But I don't have to be held in check. Because, like the train man in my server, down here, I am God. Arbolt says, CKT, he's right behind you. Arbolt is apparently creeping out KDZ. That's lame. Randy Crush Saga is here. Hello, hello. KDZ says, Judge says, out! Randy says the judge isn't going to allow them to be called journalists, but they may be referred to as jury tamperers. Darth Hote says, Happy International Men's Day. Thank you. Didn't know it existed for 30 years, but guys, we have a day like Father's Day. No one gives a shit. Pretty true. Randy says he was just ticketing near the bus, and then the guy's boss under it. Ron says, they really want me to listen to her, and don't you? Looks a mite better than AOC. AOC biscuit. Katie Zed says, is it riot season already? It is riot season. That's a great take that he stole from Ricada. Oh, Tim Pool? Yeah. I just made an MSNBC out meme. Instagram. Go away. We're not turning on notifications. Fuck off. KTZ. I don't see it. Must not be posted yet. We can share the love on the hot sauce one, though. We can do that. Randy says, was she hot? Ron says, chat disconnected again? I don't know. It looks like it's going everywhere. Katie Z says, what a shit show. Randy says, come dumpster 1, F Kyle 0. Are you going to go down there? I do have to work today, so I don't think I'm going to be able to go down there, but I'd like to go and see some of the riots. Live interview with the Knight of Knee. Knee! Katie Z says Anthony and JoJo sounds more off-white than Tony and Joe. MK says he'll learn to become dumpster in prison. Gross. Katie Z says this Julius Jones shit just pissed me off. The dude is guilty as fuck. Randy says people are so sure of their doubts about this case, but also so sure that Kyle is guilty. Yes, that is true. MK says sliding Jones right back into my fantasy football lineup. Katie Z says not only that, but he fired shots at the daughters as they ran away. The guy's 100% guilty. He has had 13 appeals, like I said, 100% guilty. Randy says those poor smart people thinking the release of that info would improve views on the vax. Katie said had to go prep for a meeting. Enjoy your meeting. Randy says I propose releasing the information under emergency authorization. Of course, it could be more than one pill. Pfizer-Mectin. Randy says, we're going to find out. It's a mix of and the words you can't say on YouTube. As highly effective as the vax, which has been found to be as low as 44%. Ron says it might be 20% effective, but I doubt it. Just read an article where thousands of college students have been jabbed 2 weeks or more, and over 80% of them got the pinko fucking pox. Randy says, seeing as how the likelihood of being hospitalized versus confirmed cases is dramatically low, any drug created whatsoever would have good results in the people taking it not needing to go to the hospital. Latest strains are much weaker, says Ron Helton. Randy says Disney cruises are well known for having diseases break out. I'm sure they all do, but Disney is well known for it. Which makes sense because this is a man-made virus that did not exist in nature before man created this Franken virus. Disavow. Totally natural. China had nothing to do with this. Look over here. The trial of Kyle Rittenhouse. Randy says, I hope it comes back as card is real so people can stop pretending that the word of disgruntled employee friend can be immediately considered fact. Ron says, sure, jabs are given in the military, and they've even given experimental jabs for troops. Some were given jabs to protect against anthrax, which caused problems. This jab is ineffective. Yeah, and like I said, I disagree with the mandatory jabs in the for the troops in the military. I disagree with that. But you did sign the contract with the government that included that. Quest says, I'm back. In case you didn't know, my suspicious silence was gone for a bit, but back now. Quest, I don't believe you, Stephen Ignoramus. Randy says, I mentioned the skewed data of not counting all the breakthrough cases to my mom. I got the gears in her head turning, and she shared an article with breakthrough cases and deaths, 10% chance of dying from coronades, but if you've been vaxxed according to the data. Interesting. Randy says, I thought Mexico was going to pay for Build Back Better. Ron says, we're living in a historic era where we are watching the empire disintegrate right in front of us. Strange times. Ron says, letting the camel get its nose under the tent will spell the end of crypto. Its main desirable function was privacy. Hashtag end government. Randy says, to be fair, crypto is only worth the fiat currency that it can be exchanged for, so it's actually worth less than our monopoly money. Well, yeah, like I say, that's the other thing too, is if we're in the situation where I'm going to be taxed out the ass for crypto, or I'm going to be taxed out the ass for our monopoly fiat currency, I'm just going to use the fiat currency. They'll both be worthless at some point. Quest says, I've got your break right here. Oh, excuse me, why am I so tired? Just to wait for these political fat cats to give money to their buddies. How many millions were given to Solyndra? 350 million, bunch of thieves. Randy says Joe needs his own chaperone to make it around the White House. Quest says nobody's stranger than Biden. Quest says boobs. Couldn't he have just seen them in person? She's stupid for to have shared the pics. Yeah, like I said, it's when you leave the paper trail out there, it's just so easy to either get hacked or released. Quest says, anyone else still here? Piece of shit. Yeah, he was. Not even trying to control himself. Leibt says, ever heard of beaten wife syndrome? Katie Z says, this is terrifying. I know there's not a lot of women in here, but just watching that is traumatic for a lot of women. Leibt says she'll defend him, saying he will do nothing wrong, but it's a very real thing. Put him in the wood chipper and blacklist him. I think he is blacklisted at this point. Because they did refer to him as a former NFL player. Katie Z said, this is why women crave safety. Men and women are not equal. Correct. Quest says, this is going very different from the Adrian Peterson hit. This piece of shit just kept going. My friend Doug is a school safety person and he knows he'll never see it coming as the first target in any school shooting. There's a reason for the stigma. Quest says, I'm fully expecting our 2021 Subaru Outback to last 10 years without much issue. The auto market will be very different then, so who knows? Maybe everything will be self-driving by then. Maybe most will be using a service rather than ownership. Quest says, I'm an international man of mystery. Too cold for the weak riders. It's fucking chilly in here, dude. But I am not turning the heat on for what it costs now for fuel oil. Fuck that. Ron says, well, I think Stitt made the right decision. Maybe Jones is guilty as hell, maybe not. But I'm leaning towards a not after watching that hour-long documentary. Chad appears to be reconnected on DLive again. A bit of a delay, though. Was it Sylvan? What was that snowball from Clerks you were talking about? There's no character listed as that. They mentioned Sylvan in the dialogue, but no actor listed with that name of Sylvan. I think it was Scott Mosier was the character off that. I don't remember what his name was, though. When Veronica was in the store with Dante, the guy with the big beard came in. He was obviously fucking burnt out. And after he left, you know, Veronica said that snowball and then explained what the snowball was. And then that led into the 37 dicks scene. Are you serious? I just found out my girlfriend sucked 37 dicks in a row. Was it Sylvan was his name? I think it was, actually, now that I think about it. I gotta go watch that movie again. I love that movie. That is probably one of my favorite movies. Yes, Quest, it's that snowball. Quest says he should be a former alive person. That football piece of shit. Yes. Quest says Jimmy Carter sweater time. Ron says, yeah, it was 32 degrees outside here this morning. Now it's 40. It's probably a good 59 in here. Yes, it is that meaning of snowball. Alright, and we're done. We're out of here. Some nice peaceful music to end out of here, too. This reminds me of some of the Peanuts songs. Where's my outro music? There it is. Alright, we're going to head out of here for the day. Let's get rid of the pretzel rocks. That's completely graveled at this point. Let's get out of here for the day. Let's finish off here. Let's get out to work here. I got to get out here and go do something with the rest of my day. And, well, I guess we will see you guys here maybe over the weekend I'll do a video game stream. I did some more Fallout 4. Now that I know a little bit more about it, I'm enjoying it a little bit more again. I was getting a little stale on it, but now that we're back into it, we're getting into it a little bit more. Let's come back here, meet here, and do a little bit of this over the weekend too, shall we? I will see you then. Otherwise, we'll be back here on Monday for Contemporary and possibly the Red Net Show solo, or maybe with Seawall as well. He talked about doing this as well, but you know, now that the state is fucking me around, I don't know what's going to happen with this, and we will see what happens then. Until then, you guys, I am Jay Edgar, and this is Contemporary. Take care.